And the little bastard's slippery, right? On account of its blood, so it's sliding. All over the place, trying to crawl away. Getting so I can't tell the blood from the mud. But I gotta get in there, get right in that baby rap's stomach and dig it out. If so much as a drop of stomach acid got on that medallion, shit, I don't know what I'd do. Might be I'd hunt every damn rapt out there. Right. What are you staring? Wait. You ain't from around here. Who are you? Ooh, charmer. Don't get a lot of that around here. Folks mostly grump at me about how I should join the MSI payroll. Nice change of pace. Buy me a drink, will you? Outstanding! What are you doing in Stellar Bay, stranger? Well. Let's get down to brass nuts then, shall we? Wait, that ain't it. Brass rats? Let's talk business. I'm headed back out there after I sober up. You want a guide sooner than that? You have to get me something to clear my head. Outstanding! Our dispensary here maintains a stock of, well, I don't rightly know what they are. Steroid or caffeine somethings? Pills. They're very good. I'm cut off for the month, on account of needing one just about every damn day. But I'm sure you've got your wily ways. Fetch me one and we'll be all set. Well, they work. We got a deal or what? Ah, the charmer. Welcome back. Drink, chat, or business? All of the above?
Says someone who's never had any fun.
Exactly. See? I'm glad someone on your crew's got some sensible, got her head on straight. Whew, that hits the spot. Right in the, oh, no, there it is. There it is. Yes. We're in business. Let's go.
That was fast. I gotta see about stocking some on the ship.
You be careful. The first one's free. After that, they'll offer you gainful employment. Great. Where to? Oh, Hiram? I ain't checked in on that man in an age. He's running the giant radio tower we lovingly call Devil's Peak. We'll be going south and west, mostly along the road till we're past Fallbrook. Out there, there's a western slope that'll lead us through some fun. You like hunting, right? That's fun. If you're more of a spelunker, Rotting River will take you into the mountain caverns. We can discuss options when we get closer. That said, 3's already a crowd. I don't mind waiting somewhere until you got a spot open.
I hope you like being part of our crew, Nyoka. We're real excited to have you.
What's up? What's with the pleasantries? You want to know something? Just ask. I didn't. I was born into security detail, and when the corporations abandoned this place, I stayed. I mean, I wasn't sent off to school like I should have been. I was born here, and my parents kept me. Raised under the Monarch sky. Been breathing sulfur since I knew how to smell it. This place is all I know. Yeah, at first we all thought it was about damn time. I don't know if you've noticed, but Monarch ain't exactly easy on the spirit. Then it got uglier than a rat eating a sour grape. Everything that could have gone wrong did. Townships were promised evac shuttles that never came. Overland routes were attacked by marauders and wildlife. Supplies went missing, our equipment started corroding on account of the sulfur in the air. It was a fine mess. The folks responsible for the disaster that was the actual evacuation, maybe. The terraforming crew, sure. The corporations themselves, nah. That's just a system. It works fine so long as the leadership knows what they're doing. I'm not sure we need anything, Cap. We've had our growing pains, to be sure, but here we are. Still alive, still fighting. Long as nobody goes around trying to dismantle the whole thing, I think we'll be fine. Progress requires structure. Nobody's gonna build a sewer pipe or a road if they don't got a boss telling them to. The bureaucracy's necessary. Anytime, Cap. What's up? I took a job once to clear out a rap nest. Partnered up with a fellow out of Fallbrook who called himself Dirty Don. Bit on the shorter side. Had a penchant for cards. Thing is, he introduces himself and the man is immaculate. Clean. He had a flowery presence to him. A pleasantness that didn't invade your space. He was just there and you were glad for it. I wouldn't believe it myself had I not met the man. But when we got to the nest, I found out firsthand. Dirty Don killed those raptidons with his bare hands. His bare fucking hands, Captain. He was a whirlwind of grotesque primal fury. In the end, he stood drenched in blood over the entrails of a dozen raps. If he had a scratch on him, I wouldn't have been able to tell. It was glorious. Day came when he tried to take on a mannequin. Got himself eaten one limb at a time. Wonder if he tasted like soap. Oh well, live and learn. No matter how tough you are, if you're gonna fight something bigger than you, bring a firearm. What's up? What's up? Sure. I don't have a single spot I call home. Wherever I can sit in peace with a bottle is good enough for me. But yes, I've always been on Monarch. In a sense. My parents took off when the corporations did. I took to companionship with a few friends here for a time, but those days are long past. No. That's a painful trail I ain't keen on walking again. No. I'm not saying more on the subject. What's up? Sure. All right. Hey, got a favor to ask you. Figure while we're out here in the wilderness anyhow, we might stop in on an old friend of mine. Preferably before we get to Hiram's. It's on the way, don't worry. You don't seem the type to run off and get yourself killed, and I could use the help. I'll be upfront with you. I hate asking for help. I hate it. Every time I give someone the opportunity to disappoint me, they seem to make it their most immediate goal. But this, what I'm thinking, it's dangerous. Really? Here I was steeling myself for inevitable rejection. I used to run with a band of hunters. Friends. 6 of us. We were on Monarch when the corporations pulled out, and we helped a lot of people pick up the pieces. I haven't seen 2 of them in years, and the rest I know to be dead. I'd like to gather their effects and bury them all in the same places, like the family we once were. First, we go to Hayes. I buried him a ways from our encampment. I need to pay my respects. I'll show you where he rests. He had a medallion in his effects. That's what I'll bring home to bury. Then we find my 2 lost trackers and bring them home. A long time ago, we built an encampment in one of Monarch's cave systems. Trouble is, a Mantiqueen showed up and kicked us all out. If we can find Rebecca and Anders, they'll know how to lure her out. Then, we kill the bitch and bury everyone's medallions together. Thanks, Cap. Hayes was the best self-sacrificing son of a saint I ever met. Halcyon is worse off without him. Now, if we're gonna lure the Mantiqueen out, we'll need to find Rebecca and Anders. They took a UDL contract on Terra 2. We never heard from them again. Think it's time I call in a favor with Hiram. If anyone can track them down, it's him. The Queen ain't just gonna come out on her own. She'll have dug tunnels into the mountain. I've got theories about how to lure her out, but Anders would know for sure. I don't know much about it. It paid well, so they took it. They said they'd be back in a couple of weeks, and that maybe we could all use the money to get off Monarch. That was a long time ago. I should have. I really should have. But soon after they left, Hayes and the others died. And to be honest, after him, I stopped trying, because it hurt like hell to do so. Thanks. I'm still not convinced I won't come to regret it, but we've started down this path. Might as well see it through. Maybe it'll stop me screaming at night. Now come on, let's make tracks before Hiram dies of old age. What's up? Right. We can take the caverns up, but if you ain't into spelunking, there's a path a little ways north. I'd warn you, it'll be a tough trek. Big bad's up on that hill. I'm game to hunt them if you are, but it'd be safer to stick to the caverns. Hey, Cap. Parvati showed me how to properly grease the magazine release on one of my firearms. She's a smart one, you know. Opal was quiet in the same way. She'd hang back, out of sight, then all of a sudden pop in with a bit of wisdom out of nowhere. Shit. Look at me dredging up bygone days. Forget I said anything. I will. Anders? You in there? Huh. Rebecca taught me this once. You can jerry-rig these old locks so as they don't open anymore. But we've only ever done that if we're in a real bind. Here, I'll fix it. Oh no. Oh no. What did you do?
Uh-oh. This looks bad.
They were... That bitch! They were all set to abandon us! What would Clara say, huh? Every day she'd ask if we heard from you. And she'd have forgiven you! The kid had a soul that made the sulfur smell like roses! Ugh. Or to leave your medallions to rot with you, but Clara would want to be buried with her sister. At least I know. Ought to have learned by now that getting one's hopes up tends to open them to being dashed across the stars. I hate to say this, but Clara died thinking her sister was still fighting to get back home. I'm glad. If she were still alive now, break her to know the truth. Yeah, maybe. I'm used to disappointment. She was still so naive as to let it hurt her every time it happened. Only thing left is to take these medallions home, which means figuring out how to bait the Mana-Queen out of our old base. The most pissed off I've ever seen a queen was when a foreign species was on her soil. I'd wager the stench of a primal might do the trick. No, we need a plan. You may be a capable sort, but so are my friends. I ain't making that mistake twice. I've never had the pleasure of hunting primals, but I hear they're all over Scylla. Let's tear a few apart, shall we? I'm sure they've got pheromones. Everything does. That queen ain't gonna go down easy. I can't wait. What's up? Sure. All right. You ever name a place? Ever come to a spot in the world you think ought to be remembered? Those don't count. Those names were paid for. I name things and places quite often. Rotting River, Golden Rock, the Horizon's Edge. Anytime I come to a spot I think is worth remembering, I name it. It's easy to get lost in the wilderness. I don't mean physically. All you need is a clear night sky to get your bearings. I mean, it's easy to forget that you belong. Spend a few weeks camping with the Raps and you start to forget what it's like to be human. When a beast growls at you, maybe you start to growl back. Those little spots, a rock here, a river there, I'd name them so that in those moments, I could remind myself not where I was, but who I was. Well, we eat, we drink, and holler and fuck. On some level, we all function the same. But they ain't got memories or attachments to places, to friends, to themselves. I found that every once in a while, my own attachments would start to slip. Then I'd take a drink from the rotting river, find my spirit refreshed. Anyway, enough sentimental yammering. Let's find a drink or a target. What's up? Outstanding. These ought to be enough. Let's get back to Monarch. There's an old base I used to call home. I can get us in the door, but we'll have to shoot our way through the Queen's brood to get to the center. We'll set the bait there. Password to the door is Charon. Fucking right we are. It's an old cave system we tried to turn into an encampment. You'll see when we get there. Hayes' idea. Clara, Hayes, Anders, Rebecca, Opal, Nyoka. Charon. He said it was some old myth, something about death and all the things we killed. Rest of us just thought it sounded cool, so here we are. Well, this is the spot. You know, I thought I'd be angry. I thought I'd storm in here in a rage and exterminate all these bugs and everything would be all right in the end. But I ain't. I'm mostly just empty. A little sad, maybe. The first night Hayes and I spent in here, we knew it was home. It's safe. It's got a nice chill to it. But mostly, it doesn't stink of sulfur. Monarch folks often joke about it. Not because of the smell or the grittiness it leaves in your throat. Not because of the headaches or the coughing. It's because there's no escaping it. It's life here, and there ain't anything you can do about it. But here, somehow the sulfur never made it. The nights we spent in here felt like vacations. So we started building. We hauled in steel, hired sublight folk to help. That's how we met Anders and Opal. They stuck around after our contract was up. Opal liked camping. Anders liked chasing her tail. 4 of us for a while, scraping together what bits we could to build our home. Then came Rebecca, a sawbones out of the Cascadia survivors, who took a kindness to Hayes. And Clara, her little sister. I'll admit I wasn't keen on taking her on at first, but for a teenager, she was surprisingly capable. More like attached at the hip to her older sister. Got a kind of strength between them, I suppose. She had a head for numbers, helped us trade hides for food and materials, negotiated contracts. Turned out to be mighty useful. Clara, Hayes, Anders, Rebecca, Opal, and me. 6 folks, 1 name, 1 family. Charon. Despite Monarch trying to kill us day in and day out, we managed to belong. Me too, Captain. But I'm starting to think that maybe I found another. Now let's get to shooting before I get all sentimental. Here they come! I wish these were more auspicious circumstances, but at least we're all here. This bringing them together, burying them. This is the kind of thing Hayes would have done. That makes it stupid. By all accounts, we should have left well enough alone, but that also makes it right. Captain, thank you. You mind if we rest a spell before we head out? I'd like to bury Opal and Clara proper before I lay everyone's medallions to rest. What? Why? Them's painful memories, Captain. Huh. That ain't a bad point. All right, Captain. Thanks. You know, I'd been assuming this entire stay on your ship thing isn't a permanent arrangement. Part of my contract? That said, you ain't been eaten or shot to death yet. Says a lot about the stability of your future. And to be honest, I'm about sick of sleeping on bar stools. So how's about this? You keep letting me stay on that ship of yours, and I'll keep shooting at the things you point at. Outstanding. What's up? All right. I made friends with a canid once. They ain't as savage as the Raps. They're more careful. Some of them will sniff your feet before they attack. Well, one morning, I opened the flap to my tent to find a canid sniffing around the remains of my fire pit. Suppose it must have smelled the rapt I boiled for dinner the night before. Thing is, I had dragged that rapt off and burned it before I turned in. Can't have anything catching a whiff of fresh meat and coming to interrupt my beauty sleep. I'd never seen such a keen hound. As I grabbed my gun, it walked up to me, right up to my tent, and stopped. It looked me dead in the eye and it didn't growl. It just sniffed around, sat for a spell, started walking off. When it saw I wasn't following it, it waited. Hard to the void, Cap. It looked back at me, and it was only when I walked in its direction that it continued. Once I started following, it put its nose to the ground and led me for some 20 minutes through the wilderness. Soon we came to a small rap nest, and in that nest lay 2 dead canids. My new friend looked at the raps, then at me, then at the raps again. Yes, that appeared to be the case, and here I was standing in front of what I estimated to be its dead packmates. Once I blew the shriveled brains out of those sulfur-sucking raps, my canid companion walked to the corpses of its packs, and with a soft whimper, it laid among them. I ain't seen emotion in a beast before, but that day, I believed it to be grieving. I thought I ought to kill it, put it out of its misery, and secure myself a decent meal. But I couldn't bring myself to pull the trigger. Don't know why. Maybe on account of my own personal losses. Maybe I could relate. Either way, that grieving canid is still out there somewhere. Or it's been eaten. Who knows? What's up? Oh, sure. Once, our group was short on bits, and we were low on meat. We were trying to come up with a plan when we met Rebecca and her little sister. Every once in a while, when times got desperate, we looked to Fallbrook for dirty work. The sisters had never been there before. They lived in Cascadia all their life. First night we stayed there, well, you know me. I was in my cups. I sat to play cards with a few gentlemen from Byzantium who had deep pockets. Thought I'd make a bid or two. You'd bet correctly. They're willing to throw away money because they've got so much extra. So, I'm up against this old man from somewhere on Terra 2, long retired and looking for adventure he hadn't found in his youth. Thing is, he's smarter than the average tourist, tighter. I'm chipping away at his wallet, but it's a slow-going, frustrating game. I suppose. Not for long, though. So then, Rebecca sits at the table. I hadn't known she could even play, let alone that she'd be willing to. For her part, she did fine. Didn't lose much. But the tourist, the old Terra 2 retiree, Rebecca distracted him something awful, and I took him for all he had. Oh, yes. Rebecca and I became fast friends that night. I'd give quite a bit to see her at the tables again.
Nyoka returned to Monarch to take another crack at making a permanent life for herself. She formed the Charon Group, a mercenary outfit of ragtag survivalists and wilderness experts. Anyone in need of a guide, or just looking to throw back a beer and swap stories, could find her camping on the trail or clearing an infestation.